Okay, so over the last year, I've tested pretty much every major budgeting app you can use here in the UK, and what I found was really interesting. So I don't think most people quit budgeting because they're bad with money. I think they quit because they pick the wrong kind of tool. Because some apps just show you what happens to your money, like they present you with a beautiful graph and some insights, while some apps, they help you plan better, so that's forecasting. And some actually force you to stop overspending altogether. But if you choose the wrong tool for how you actually behave with money, then you'll probably fail within weeks. So instead of just listing apps, I've structured this video by effort, starting with the easiest option, then moving into full control tools before finishing with the most aggressive, an app that physically stops you from overspending. I've also included a very popular budgeting app that I think you should absolutely avoid, but more on that later. Snoop isn't really about strict budgeting, it's more about having greater visibility over your bank accounts and transactions. So you connect your accounts via open banking, which is a secure way of sharing your transaction data, and Snoop then keeps an eye on what's going on in the background. It flags subscriptions, upcoming bills, and spending patterns, and sends you notifications when something seems off, such as excess spending. And that's the big reason I like Snoop. It doesn't ask much from you. In fact, it really doesn't need a lot. It just works in the background and it just quietly gives you a nudge if something seems off. And the layout and the way it presents the analytics are really well designed. And if you're someone that likes graphs, then you'll probably like Snoop. The spend charts look great, the month-on-month comparisons are clear, and the automated budgeting and emergency fund calculators are all genuinely useful features. My experience of setting up the app was great. It took just a few minutes, and once my first account was linked, it asked me a few surprisingly good questions about my spending habits, basically testing how well I know my finances. And I didn't do too badly, although I was shocked to realize I'd spent nearly $9.5 grand at Ocado and over £10,000 at Amazon since 2024. Snoop also claims that users save on average around £1,500 per year, mainly because it nudges you to cancel unused subscriptions and switch things like phone contracts or insurance when better deals are available. That's all very useful, but I think what's going to shock you the most with Snoop, and it was pretty surprising to me, is that the free version is actually pretty good. Like, it doesn't feel like a teaser, or a funnel into the paid plan. You get subscription and bill tracking, decent spending insights, a free credit score check, which I appreciate isn't groundbreaking, but it's good to have, and even access to a decent easy access savings account, which at the time of recording is 4%. And if we check depositscout.com quickly, we can see that that's relatively competitive. There is, of course, a paid plan at £5.99, which adds things like custom categories and deeper net worth tracking, but honestly, I don't think you'll need it. And for most people, the free version does a good job on its own. So if you want something that gives you instant visibility with almost no effort, Snoop is a really solid place to start. And I'll leave a link to it below in the description box. That's an affiliate link, so do consider using it if you'd like to support the channel. And please don't leave the video yet, because I probably should have left Snoop till last because it's so good, but there is a slight problem with it. It's passive. Okay, so what I mean is it shows you the damage after it's been done and it's too late. And if you want to stop spending in the first place, you might not need a new app at all. You might just need a different bank. So with Monzo and Starling straight out the box and built into their current accounts is 90% of what budgeting apps already do. Like, I'm talking about tracking, analytics, and trends. You already have them there. And the big advantage is that your money also lives there. So if you make a transaction or an online payment, then it updates instantly without delay. And this can be a problem because some of these apps, like Emma, which I'll talk about shortly, their free version only syncs once a day. So I tested this by sending myself money, and my bank obviously immediately notified me, but it took Emma 4 hours to tell me that my balance had changed. So let's just say you only get one opportunity a day to check your budgeting app. Well, if it hasn't updated, then you're not getting a true reflection of your finances. And with Monzo's free account, you get things like pots where you can segregate money, spending categories, spending trends, and also something called salary sorter. Now, I really love this feature. So when you get paid, Monzo can automatically split your money into pots for bills, spending, and savings. It takes about 5 minutes to set up, but it can save you a lot of stress later on, especially when bills are due. And if you pay for Monzo Extra, which is £3 a month, you can also connect other bank accounts and credit cards. So you can really turn Monzo into a central dashboard for your finances. Extra also includes virtual cards, which can be a powerful budgeting tool. For example, you could create a card just for takeaways and only load £50 onto it for a month. So once that money is gone, that's it, that card stops working. They also have the 1p saving challenge, which I'm actually enrolled in right now. You set it once and forget about it. Then Monzo moves 1p on day 1, 2p on day 2, and so on and so on. And by the end of the year, you've quietly saved £667.95 without even noticing. And I think from a budgeting perspective, Monzo has a lot to offer. But to really get the most out of it, you probably need to be comfortable paying £3 a month. But if you're not, then Starling Bank, which is entirely free, is a very strong alternative. So they take a simpler approach than Monzo, and all of its core budgeting tools are included in their free account. So instead of pots, you get spaces, which let you separate money for things like bills or short-term savings. And you can even pay direct debits straight from them, which is really an effective way of stopping yourself from accidentally spending bill money. You also get virtual cards as well as real-time spending notifications, automatic categorization, and a nice clear breakdown by merchant and category, all without any setup. These features are not normal here in the UK. A lot of banks, they don't offer that much when it comes to budgeting, especially insights and analytics, and that's what I love about Starling and Monzo. They've really designed their apps to make spending more visible, and at the moment it happens, which I think is super useful, because a lot of people, they don't mean to overspend, and they realize after it's too late. But these two can help give you greater oversight on your finances, and that alone could change behavior. So for some, simply banking with a provider like Monzo or Starling is enough to improve budgeting. And I mean, if you want low effort, it doesn't get much better than that. Obviously, you're gonna have to switch your account over, which, you know, using the current account switching service is pretty straightforward. There's the effort. Otherwise, you can just crack on with your spending and you're gonna get wonderful oversight and potentially enough visibility where you're going to start to think twice about how you spend your money. The big limitation with Starling, and this is genuinely frustrating, is aggregation. So you still can't view your other bank accounts or credit cards or savings in one place. And we've talked about Snoop, which does do that, except with a lighter touch. You know, Snoop, it really works quietly in the background and gives you a little nudge when something looks good or bad. Well, the next app takes the opposite approach. It tries to pull everything into one place and offers way more than just budgeting. But in my experience, I think it adds more complexity rather than clarity. And I don't recommend this app, but I want to talk about it anyway. So just before we jump into Emma, I wanted, that sounds so wrong. Before we start talking about Emma, I just wanted to ask you, sorry, I've just thrown myself off massively. I just wanted to ask if you would consider subscribing. Around 2% of the people that watch this channel are currently subscribed. So if you like the content I talk about, or you watch the channel frequently and you haven't yet subscribed, then please do consider hitting subscribe. That's the last time I'll say that word. Like the video as well if you're enjoying it so far. It would mean the world to me. Thank you. So Emma is best thought of as an all-in-one financial hub rather than a pure budgeting app. So it connects to your current accounts, credit card savings, and in some cases investments, and pulls everything into one place. Now on paper that does sound ideal because you get spending breakdowns across multiple banks, you've got subscription tracking, bill reminders, net worth estimates, all the good stuff that you'd expect. But Emma doesn't stop there. And inside the app, you'll find savings rates, which aren't that competitive, cashback. Just quickly on the whole Emma having cashback thing, does anyone else find that completely insane that a budgeting app would be offering cashback? Which I know they could argue as a way of you saving money, because I mean, they put it under save in the app, so they think it's a way of saving money. But ultimately, retailers offer cashback because they want you to spend with them and hopefully spend more money, because you might see little items that are available that maybe you weren't going to purchase intentionally, but you saw it, so you add it to cart. It's a way of pulling you in and getting your attention and making you transact more money. But this is a budgeting app. It's not supposed to encourage spending. It's supposed to help you get control of your money. And hopefully, if you are living a paycheck to paycheck lifestyle, have some left over each month, which is probably going to require less spending. But Emma has cashback. Let me know in the comments if you think this is insane, because I have a real problem with this. They also offer loans. So they are giving you, they're enabling borrowing. You could borrow more money, create more debt. Ultimately, they'll get paid as a result. Like the cashback, they'll get paid. They'll make money, but you'll spend more money and end up with less. I don't like Emma. Emma Pay, investments, and even a rent reporting feature that may help build your credit score. So instead of focusing purely on budgeting, Emma is trying to solve multiple financial problems at once. And this is where, in my opinion, it starts to fall apart, because I think the app feels bloated. There are so many features and so many different tiers all competing for your attention, and honestly, I felt overwhelmed using it, which made me think that if you're someone that feels overwhelmed by money, then Emma could actually make that worse. I don't think the pricing structure helps either. The free version is restricted, especially when it comes to connected accounts, and many features that feel basic, like budgeting and tracking, are locked behind the Plus plan. And something I noticed when I subscribed through the App Store, it pushed paid plans heavily and didn't clearly show the free tier. So I was shown this screen that doesn't even name the plan, and when you tap View All Plans, where's the free version? I know they offer a free trial for Pro, Plus, or Ultimate, but they are forcing me to subscribe to one of them. Well, they haven't got a gun to my head, okay, but they are pushing me in the direction of a paid plan, and I think that's wrong. Especially for an app that's supposed to help us save money, because it's desperately trying to get us to spend more by pushing us towards another subscription. And I felt this when I was using the app, because I was often prompted to upgrade or just to try additional features, like the Emma quiz, Beckham's edition. I mean, what the hell is this? And I know you can turn notifications off, but I like to switch them on just to get the full experience. And Emma felt like a Tommy gun of notifications just obliterating me with so many different features.
A Tommy gun!
And that's why I wouldn't recommend Emma. Not because it's broken, it does work, and I know plenty of people clearly find it useful, but I think it's trying to do too much. And for some, that might be appealing, but I think most people seeking help with budgeting, at least, they just want clarity and control over their finances and not more noise and distraction. But this wasn't what stood out the most to me. It was when I was using Emma that I realized something else. I think the biggest problem with most budgeting apps, and it's not the bloat or the subscription pressure, it's that they're like rear view mirrors. Okay, so they are brilliant at showing you exactly where you wasted your money last month, but they don't give you the tools to stop it from happening the following month. And that's why I really like this next app, because it isn't all about tracking your money. It's about telling it exactly where to go. YNAB, or YNAB, which stands for You Need a Budget, is a completely different kind of tool to the others, because where Snoop, Monzo, Starling, Emma, they all show you what has already happened. YNAB is about deciding what your money will do before you spend it. So it uses something called zero-based budgeting, which may sound technical, but it's actually really simple. Just imagine withdrawing all of your money in cash and putting it into physical envelopes. So one for rent, one for groceries, one for holidays, one for takeaways, whatever. You keep filling envelopes until you have no money left to assign. That way, you can't accidentally spend your rent money on a takeaway because you are limited to the cash inside that specific envelope. It also handles credit cards in a genius way. When you buy £30 of groceries on your credit card, YNAB automatically grabs 30 from your grocery envelope and moves it to your credit card payment envelope. So the money is sitting there ready to pay the bill instantly, and you'll never, in theory, create debt. You can link your bank accounts and track everything in one place, and as transactions come in, they get matched against your budget and ticked off in real time. And if you want to do it manually, because I think a lot of people do because they're worried about privacy and sharing their data, you can, because like linking current accounts or bank accounts or credit cards, it's optional. And one of the best ways I've seen this app described is that it's a GPS and not a self-driving car, because you're still in control. YNAB doesn't move your money for you, but it constantly shows you where you're going financially, and when you take a wrong turn, it forces you to make a decision instead of ignoring it. And this is where it really shines, because if you've ever felt like you earn decent money but still bleed cash through 1,000 card swipes, well, this makes it painfully obvious, because instead of just seeing a bank balance, you're watching specific pots or envelopes of money gradually shrink. Now, a lot of people say YNAB feels overwhelming at first, and honestly, I think that's fair. There's definitely a learning curve. It took me a few months to get the hang of it, but I think that friction is kind of the point. It forces you to engage with your money properly. And I think the people who end up loving You Need a Budget don't love it because it's easy, they love it because it changes how they think about their money. And honestly, this really hit me hard. So in fact, I bought the book Okay, it's titled You Need a Budget by Jesse Meekum. And this is really interesting. It explains the philosophy way better than I can in a short video, and it really helped the method make sense. It also has a brilliant section on teaching kids about money with a proper framework for things like allowances. And it's written in a really optimistic way, which kind of surprised me because money can be so stressful, but I actually found this book really helped reduce my anxiety, and it genuinely helped me. I think it's a great companion to the app, and I really recommend it. The downside is the price. Not the price of the book, but the app itself. It's £80 a year, billed in dollars, so make sure you're using the right card that doesn't charge FX fees. But I know that's not cheap. But if it clicks for you, it can be incredible and pay for itself just by reducing mindless spending. Except I appreciate that paying £80 to £85 a year for an app to tell you that you're broke is a tough sell. So if you love the idea of you need a budget, so the principle of giving every pound a job, but you hate the subscription price, then you need to meet this next alternative. So Actual Budget is essentially the open source, privacy-focused alternative to YNAB, and it shares the same philosophy on budgeting, but there are two massive differences. One, it's local first. What I mean by that is your data lives on your device, not on their servers. So that means it's completely private, really fast, and importantly, nobody could ever shut it down or, double the price overnight. Number two is the cost. Actual Budget is free and open source, so you can run it for nothing on your own computer, but it's recommended that you pay a hosting provider, in this case Picopods. And I know hosting provider sounds technical, but Picopods basically sets it up for you with one click. It's really easy and it only costs £1.50 per month, which is roughly 18 quid a year. And they offer $5 of credit when you sign up, which means you should actually be able to run Actual Budget for about 3 months before the credit expires. It works in the UK, it uses Go Cardless to sync with UK banks, which is usually free for personal use, so you still get that automated bank feed without the price tag. Now the trade-off is polish. So the website itself is lacking in finesse, so to speak. I mean, it isn't really a big deal, but if you've come to expect like beautiful looking, well-designed applications or websites that you would expect from a Monzo or a Revolut or a Starling or the apps that I've mentioned like Snoop, beautiful looking platform, you're not going to get that with Actual Budget. They also don't have a mobile app, which is arguably a downside. But look, if you're willing to trade polish and a mobile app for privacy-focused tools which are really secure and reliable, and you want maybe more of a budget nerd approach, then Actual Budget is definitely going to be the system for you. However, Actual Budget, YNAB, Snoop, Emma, they all share one major flaw. They rely entirely on your willpower. They cannot stop you from spending your money. You can just say, F it, tap your card and blow the bloody doors off your budget.
Go.
So if you're someone who sets a budget and constantly ignores it, then you don't need a tracker, you need a handler. You need something that physically stops you from spending money you don't have, and that is where the next app comes in. HyperJar is unique on this list because while budgeting is the reason I would recommend it, it isn't really a budgeting app. It's a prepaid debit card built around digital jam jars. You load money into the app, split it into jars for things like groceries, fuel, eating out, or kids spending, and then you spend directly from those jars using the card. So when a jar is empty, spending stops. And that's the entire point. There's no forecasting, no reports, and no pretending you'll do better after next month's paycheck. HyperJar works because it forces the decision before you spend and not after. It's also completely free to use day to day with no monthly subscription, and you can even block spending at certain merchants or restrict jars to specific retailers. So if you need a budget as a GPS, HyperJar is a physical barrier across the road. You literally cannot overspend unless you deliberately move the money first. And if you're willing to climb over that barrier, then I really don't think an app can help you. And this is where budgeting apps run out of road. I'll stop with the driving metaphors now. So if you want visibility over your money, use something like Snoop. If you want simple built-in control, Monzo or Starling are definitely enough. If you want to plan your money properly and are willing to put in a little extra effort, YNAB and Actual Budget are incredibly powerful. And if you want spending to physically stop when the money runs out, HyperJar is brutally effective. But after that, there's no magic app left. The rest is just up to you.